Well, good morning. Hope you guys had a good week. I had a pretty good week. A couple forced days, some overtime. Yesterday worked till 7, so this definitely is a more, um, yeah, I'm gonna be able to pay the bills this month. I paid the rent already, got the cars already, so this will be the third check this month. Then I have two, so I'll be able to get a little bit ahead on this one, which is good. Um, gonna run today. I ran on 26.2 miles this week in 3 hours and 47 minutes. 2 days before that, I did 13.1. I think in an hour and 50. So my running's doing pretty good. My legs are strong. Um, I biked on my Zwift 2 days ago, and that was rough. I'm gonna have to get a fan or something. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get a freaking fan. I'll look for it later because yeah, at that I only biked for like 14 miles, and I think it took 35 minutes, but it was harsher than the 26.2. You know, it's just that was harsh. Just no air movement, and you're in a room, even with the door window open right beside me. It didn't matter. So that's I'm gonna be biking outside anyways. That's a winter activity, pretty much fall and winter, and rain when it's cool out. Because that was rough. I didn't suffer from dehydration on the 26.2. I had to stop for water though. Up the path, there's the post office, and I was able to stop there and get some water. That was really helpful that day. Um, I didn't actually plan on running the 26.2, but I felt pretty strong. I ran 10K the other day, averaging 740 per mile, and I had a 719 mile. So I'm pretty psyched at my improvement. And didn't settle down. I was gonna become a Spark driver, and for some crazy reason, Spark said, "Thank you for your interest, but we can't sign you up." I mean, obviously, I passed the background check. I don't have any accidents that are my fault, so I don't know why the heck they did. I emailed and didn't get a response back, and but if the overtime is the way it is, I don't really care. Um, I'm really weary about the vehicles. I cannot afford to be maintaining the wear and tear. I mean, I won't be, you know what I mean? It's just the gas prices. I got to really think about that. Plus fitness. So, I don't know. Would have been something good to plug and play. Um, Probably my address. The electric company recognizes it, but the post office doesn't. So maybe they don't detect it as an address and they blinked it because of that. It's weird. I'm upstairs in an apartment. There's a number downstairs. This is a number. Across the hall is a different number. And for some reason, they don't recognize my number. So I have to use the one downstairs, but I chose to use this one. So if I chose the one downstairs, probably would have worked. It's it is what it is. So yeah, my vascularity is pretty good. Well, my vascularity is pretty good. I'm feeling strong. I quit using the methylene blue. I'm not buying that shit no more. I use a 12 magnesium pill. That's 12 different forms. The magnesium taurine, the glycinate, and the other versions. I take it at night because it helps me sleep. I take minerals as a multivitamin. And then I have the flavanols. That's pretty much just going to be my stack. Nothing else. And I use Source as my hydration powder before running, or perfect hydration. That uses glucose, not like table sugar. And I think it's pretty good. I think the methylene blue, I didn't really notice any difference, I don't think. And, it's not really smart. I think definitely it's like your urine's the color of Mountain Dew. Well, my urine turned to the color of Baja Blast. That was funny. I'm just not going to mess around with that. I'm not going to do that. So I was thinking, politicians are ranting about the cost and how we hired people. And what we should do is cut costs. Well, they didn't touch on the pre-funding of the medical insurance. Of course, that law that passed in 2006, I think. And I'm not complaining. If it wasn't for Amazon, I probably wouldn't have gotten hired. They wouldn't have needed the people that they needed. Because the packages slow down the delivery of the mail. That's just the truth. And so they needed people because they have a lot of packages, especially during the time of the pandemic. And now that everybody's caught on wanting to order, it's going to slow down the mail, and you're going to need manpower to get this done. And so therefore you have to hire people. You know what I mean? And DeJoy said about stability of the workforce. Yeah. When I was a CCA in North Adams, I was working up to 3 weeks in a row. First one in, last one out. I'm not doing it here now about the 12 hours, but from November to February, every workday was a 12-hour workday. And that's because of packages. And when the packages went away, all of a sudden, well, of course, we hired a bunch of new people, but all of a sudden, you're getting the roots done. This one guy was talking in that garage. He wasn't like giving me shit. So it's not the same context about accusing me of running. It's not the same context, so I don't take it that way. But he said, to get it done like that, you have to be running. And I get it's my view, but I'm sorry, there isn't 8 hours worth of work with the lack of packages. I'd have to be being creative. I assure people, I'm not running around. I don't even bust a sweat, you know what I mean? I had talked about my idea of, if you have undertime, obviously you save the company money. So why can't the company give you a percentage back that they save? They still save money, and then you get extra money during that time that you have undertime. Like a 25%, put that as your pay that they're saving. So you get a 25%, 25% bump in pay during the undertime period. And they don't agree. They're like, oh, then people are going to drive crazy. Well, people are already driving crazy. It would give the incentive to make a little bit more money, to get more done. Because otherwise, I understand. If you're not going to get paid anymore, why would you be doing undertime? Unless you're just an energy guy like myself. I'm just an energy guy. You know, because yeah, he's right. You're only hurting yourself, and that's true. But at that extent, I can't really just like take naps at the beginning of each loop. You know what I mean? So yeah, the idea doesn't fly. But you know, their points about the 13 years to meet max is too long. 13 years, that's a long time to wait to get max. I'm sorry, that's not. So these politicians, you know, the inflation's happening, and they want to cut costs by cutting pay. And repeatedly, we're making too much money. I mean, at the same time that you have inflation. It's freaking ridiculous. They're just grandstanding on their congressional floor, and you know, I mean, I'm not totally disagreeing. The Postmaster General shouldn't have gotten the bonuses. They hired a company to consult. You didn't need to do that. They burned a lot of money that way. So, yeah. I mean, the EASs, they come in, they might only be a couple years in on the job, they come in EAS, and boom, make 5% more than the top carrier in the office. It's a lot of money for someone that's only in 2 years or 3, or even if you're in 6 months. It's a lot of money. You're giving all the money to the top, you know what I mean? And so, you know, when I was doing Amazon Flex, one thing that stood out in my mind was they would put a sticker on the box that would have 2 numbers. The first number would be the stop number. The second number would be the package. Easy. So I would just line it up. It was already pre-planned for you. On Sundays, I'm probably going to have to work next weekend. It's not the end of the world. But I'd like to have the 2 days off. But the money's the money. You got to make the friggin' money. We might have a lot of packages, and we number them because we use this dynamic delivery, like whatever initials. It's all basically the same thing. It'll tell you either the package count number or the stop number. And I typically do by the package number so I can know which ones I'm missing. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You could do it by stop number, but then if you're missing one, you might not know. So it's easier. And then what I do is I don't use the scanner because I'm now doing the rural thing. I'll number them because I don't know that area. And then I'll just use my phone and just go. Because the scanner's scrolling through the list to go to the next and waiting for the scanner to do that. Yeah. It's quicker on the phone, so I just number them. But the point being, it takes time to number all those packages. I might have 200 packages to number them all. It takes time. So if they had just printed the sticker with the number already for you, you don't have to freaking worry about all that. You save like an hour and a half at the beginning of the day. That's an hour and a half saved. Stuff like that. It's a lot quicker that way. Plus, we have routes that with a red book that has the sequence number. Well, you know, we could use that system. You have the sequence number of every address that's deliverable. You could use that. That's fail-proof. Then you would know which is vacant or whatever too. And then they, you know what I mean? They could do that. Make it easier. But I think actually if they had mail carriers only do certifieds, expresses, and spurs that fit in a mailbox and mail. And then they hired a separate people dedicated only to parcels. They do the mail only when the parcels are done, and perhaps have them float around to offices if they've run out of parcels or whatever. Then you could increase the area for the mail carriers to cover, because they wouldn't have any parcels pretty much. Pretty much everything would fit into a mailbox, so you'd have a standard on that. So you'd only be getting out of your truck, or for signatures for certifieds and expresses and registereds. So pretty much everything's going to fit in a mailbox. You could definitely increase the area, and the mail would be on time. And then have people just doing parcels. I think that would be the answer for that. But I don't run things. I think that's the idea. Did we really make money with Amazon? All these hires that we hired is because of Amazon. All that time and a half, you have to factor that into what we made. So how much do we make per parcel? And with the time it takes, I did Lenox yesterday, helping out, doing parcels. And there's a lot of houses that are maybe 30 yards from the road, and you can't drive on their driveway. There's no turnaround. And they're all big boxes. It takes time to walk all the way up to their house. They're not right next to the road. It takes time. There's a lot of long driveways. So, you know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. I guess FedEx signed a contract with Amazon. But without the new hires, I'd be doing 12 hours a day. The new hires that are at the office definitely are making prime time a lot softer. That's for sure. The board isn't too packed. I didn't double case this week, and I'm not really crying about it. I don't really care. But, I'm a T6, and that's part of the T6's position. You need to respect the craft, and I understand seniority, but seniority doesn't trump the craft. Seniority's within the craft. So you can't just bump people off their craft because you have seniority. That's my point of view. So the T6s should get exhausted first, then the non-T6s after that to case roots. That's just my idea. So I'm going to run today. It's going to be hot next week. It's going to be it's going to be 100 degrees. It's going to feel like 100. But the humidity, that's what's going to hurt, is the humidity. But I like the heat, so I'm excited. So I hope you guys are doing well, and thank you.